Hidden deep within the crust, buried under 65 million years of stone, lies a discovery that defies reality. Scientists have unearthed microscopic spheres of rare metals scattered globally, mimicking the exact chemical fallout of a modern nuclear detonation. Yet, these anomalies date back to an era where humans didn't exist. We have clung to the comfort of being the first to split atoms, to harness fire, and to reshape the atmosphere. But what if we are merely the latest? What if Earth has hosted advanced empires before, and the relentless grinding of tectonic plates has simply crushed their cities into dust? Today, we analyze the evidence that threatens to rewrite human history. We are diving into vanished radioactive signatures, unexplained mass extinctions, and the terrifying gaps in the fossil record where an entire world could be hiding. Prepare yourself, the evidence starts here. In 1980, a geologist named Walter Alvarez uncovered a secret etched into the Italian mountainside. A razor-thin layer of clay between Cretaceous and Paleogene periods revealed iridium levels 30 times higher than anything found on Earth. This rare element is a cosmic fingerprint, common in asteroids but a ghost in our own crust. This single find completely changed how we view the end of the world. That iridium spike proved an asteroid wiped out the dinosaurs 65 million years ago, but it also revealed something more haunting. It showed how perfectly Earth preserves the signature of a single catastrophic moment. This led researchers to a chilling realization. If a single rock from space leaves a permanent scar for 65 million years, why haven't we found the scars of a global civilization? Are we looking for the wrong things, or are we simply too blind to see them? This is the core of the deep time hypothesis. This theory suggests that industrial societies could have thrived and collapsed long before we arrived, leaving behind traces so alien that we mistake them for nature. Think about the staggering scale of time. If our current industrial age lasted 10,000 years before vanishing, it would represent a mere 0.0002% of Earth's total history. Trying to find an error in the geological record is like hunting for one specific grain of sand on a 1,000-mile beach. Yet, the ghosts of industry are hard to kill. Every advanced society must consume energy, warp the atmosphere, and leave behind synthetic waste that outlasts any building. These chemical signatures eventually settle into the rock, trapped in ice cores and ocean sediments like a permanent record of planetary change. The difficulty isn't that the evidence is gone. It's that we don't know how to read it. We know our own footprint, plastic-choked oceans, carbon spikes, and radioactive isotopes that will burn for millennia. Future observers would find us instantly, but we are looking for a mirror of ourselves, and that might be our greatest mistake. What if a prehistoric civilization used energy sources we haven't even dreamed of, or materials that didn't decay into plastic? Their entire industrial legacy could be staring us in the face, currently dismissed as natural geological fluctuations. The iridium layer is the ultimate proof that Earth never forgets a world-ending event. If our planet can remember the exact second an asteroid struck tens of millions of years ago, it is certainly holding the secrets of the civilizations that came before us. We just have to be brave enough to look at the rocks and see the truth. Scientists have begun scanning the Earth's crust with a terrifying new perspective, hunting for anomalies that suggest ancient industrial interference. What they're finding doesn't just nudge our history, it shatters our most basic assumptions about our origins. The trail of breadcrumbs begins with a massive, buried mystery within the fossil record itself. If the fossil record were a biography of Earth, it would be a book with 90% of its pages torn out and burned. We are left with jagged fragments of a story we can barely comprehend. Experts call these gaps, but that clinical term fails to describe the reality of missing millions of years that should be filled with life. Take the Cambrian explosion 540 million years ago. Complex life didn't just evolve, it erupted. It was as if a cosmic switch was flipped. One moment, the world was a soup of simple cells. The next, the oceans were crawling with armored creatures, sophisticated eyes, and predator-prey dynamics that shouldn't have existed yet. This transition should have been a slow, agonizing climb over eons. Instead, it was an overnight transformation in geological terms. The dirt offers no explanation for this sudden leap into high-level biology, and this explosion is just the first of many impossible jumps in our timeline. Earth's history is littered with these leaps. Entirely new species emerge fully formed, thriving in high-tech biological shells before vanishing without a trace or a reason. It is as if life on this planet doesn't just evolve. It gets upgraded by an outside force. Mainstream science blames preservation bias, arguing that soft creatures simply don't leave bones behind. They claim that shifts in the environment create the illusion of a gap, where there was actually a slow, boring crawl. While that sounds logical, it doesn't account for the sheer scale of silence. Some of these voids are too orderly and too perfectly timed to be a coincidence. They align perfectly with massive shifts in the air we breathe and the chemistry of our oceans, suggesting that something or someone was actively terraforming the planet while life was still in its infancy. Look at the Great Oxygenation Event from 2.5 billion years ago. Oxygen levels didn't just rise. They spiked, suffocating the old world and paving the way for everything we are today. This wasn't a minor change. It was a total planetary overhaul that rewrote the rules of chemistry. We are told this was just the work of simple bacteria. Yet, the precision and scale of this atmospheric shift looks suspiciously like a global industrial project. It mirrors exactly what we would do today if we wanted to prime a planet for new, complex life forms to thrive. This pattern haunts the entire geological column. We see long ages of eerie stability broken by violent, sudden shifts that force life into new directions. Mass extinctions act as reset buttons, followed immediately by the rapid appearance of more advanced species. These chemical ghosts trapped in the rock might be natural feedback loops we don't understand, but they could also be the exhaust pipes of a civilization that terraformed the Earth long before we took our first breath. The rock layers are screaming a truth we are only just beginning to hear. These voids in history might represent something far more chilling than natural extinction. What if these gaps are the scars of previous civilizations that once dominated the globe? Their industrial hunger might have poisoned the environment so completely that it wiped the biological slate clean, creating these silent zones in our history. The sudden arrival of new, complex life afterwards might not be natural evolution at all, but a desperate biological response, or even evidence of genetic engineering by those who came before us. The very stone beneath us holds secrets that no building could ever preserve. While skyscrapers and monuments crumble into dust, chemical fingerprints remain immortal. Every factory, every engine, and every reactor leaves a signature etched into the planet's molecular structure, creating a permanent ledger of industrial activity that survives for hundreds of millions of years. Modern industry creates specific isotope ratios that never occur in nature. By burning ancient fossil fuels, we release carbon that has been trapped for eons, creating a unique chemical mark that is currently being recorded in tree rings, ice, and ocean floors. This is our planetary ID card, and it is being written in the Earth right now. Our nuclear era has added an even more undeniable mark: radioactive isotopes that are physically impossible to create without advanced technology. These artificial elements will act as a glowing beacon for any scientist millions of years in the future, proving we were here. But this is where the story takes a dark turn. Geologists have stumbled upon these exact same impossible isotope signatures in rock layers that are millions of years old. At the Permian-Triassic boundary, the site of the greatest mass extinction in history, the carbon ratios look identical to a world burning through an entire supply of coal and oil in a single heartbeat. The data suggests an event so massive and so fast that it mirrors our own industrial revolution with terrifying precision. Standard science points to volcanoes or methane leaks to explain this away. While these could theoretically cause similar spikes, the sheer speed and systematic nature of the change feel far too calculated to be a random volcanic accident. Even our deepest ice cores, reaching back nearly 1 million years, whisper these anomalies. Deep within the Antarctic ice, we see sudden, violent spikes in greenhouse gases that linger for millennia before vanishing. These patterns repeat like a cycle, always preceded by subtle chemical shifts that look less like a natural disaster and more like the coordinated manipulation of a global climate. These shifts are simply too rapid to be the work of Mother Nature. In the mountains of Colorado, researchers found microscopic spheres of titanium and rare alloys embedded in ancient rock. These are not natural formations. They are the literal byproducts of high-heat industrial manufacturing. Yet they were deposited millions of years before humans ever discovered how to melt metal. This evidence isn't isolated. It's global. Deep-sea sediment cores have pulled up these same metallic anomalies from the bottom of the ocean, spread in a way that suggests a planet-wide industrial smog. The sediment tells a story of a world once filled with the smoke of 1,000 factories, operating across continents that we thought were empty of life. These buried layers contain concentrations of synthetic compounds that physically should not exist, yet they appear in rock that formed eons before human chemistry was born. While skeptics argue we are simply misinterpreting rare, natural phenomena, the geological evidence is becoming too precise to ignore. We are finding fingerprints of a complex world that predates our own by millions of years, hidden in the very soil we walk upon. The patterns are becoming too systematic to be dismissed as mere accidents of nature. The evidence is shifting from strange chemistry into the realm of physical materials that should be impossible. Today, we consider plastic to be humanity's ultimate, immortal legacy, but it might not be unique to us. Long after our skyscrapers have turned to sand and our skeletons have dissolved, microscopic plastic beads will remain trapped in the earth. They will serve as a permanent, undeniable siren to future geologists that a technological empire once ruled this planet. Because plastic refuses to die, it survives through heat, pressure, and chemical weathering for thousands of years. In the crushing pressure of the deep ocean or the sub-zero vaults of the poles, plastic can remain virtually unchanged for millions of years. This makes it the perfect geological tombstone. Future civilizations would see a plastic line in the sediment, marking the exact moment our species began terraforming the Earth through industry. But recent data suggests we aren't the first to leave this plastic scar. Deep-sea sediment cores have pulled up microscopic particles of synthetic polymers in layers that formed millions of years before the first human walked upright. These fragments aren't just similar to our plastic. They share the same resistance to decay and chemical structures that are never found in the natural world. These forbidden particles appear in distinct, global layers separated by millions of years of silence. This suggests a cycle of rising and falling civilizations, episodes of planetary industry, followed by total, mysterious collapse. The way these materials are scattered across every continent points to a global network, a worldwide society that existed while the Earth was still young. More terrifying is what we find when we zoom in. Some of these ancient polymers show molecular engineering that actually surpasses our own modern technology. They appear to be superplastics, designed with a sophisticated understanding of material science to resist environmental breakdown better than anything we manufacture today. Deep drilling teams in the Antarctic have pulled up ice samples containing these exact same synthetic fragments, frozen in time hundreds of thousands of years ago. These particles are perfectly preserved, maintaining their artificial structures as if they were manufactured yesterday. This leaves us with two choices. Either nature can somehow build perfect machines, or we are walking on the ruins of an ancient, advanced laboratory. The implications for our timeline are staggering. If these fragments are truly the waste of an ancient industry, it means technological civilizations have blossomed and died multiple times throughout Earth's long life. Each time, they leave behind their chemical ghosts before vanishing into the shadows of the fossil record. In the deserts of Australia, rock formations hold what were once thought to be strange minerals, but are now identified as the degraded remains of advanced synthetic materials. These complexes required extreme manufacturing techniques to create, yet they are buried alongside organic matter that is millions of years old. The materials show no sign of the natural erosion that should have erased them, standing as a silent, synthetic warning from a world we never knew. This level of preservation suggests one of two things. Either we are blind to unknown natural laws, or we're looking at manufacturing techniques that dwarf our current human capabilities. This evidence forces us to face a haunting reality. We might be walking directly over the ruins of a prehistoric empire, completely unaware that the ground beneath us is a graveyard of lost technology. Their greatest achievements have been ground down into microscopic ghosts, hidden in layers of mud and stone. To the untrained eye, they look like natural minerals, but deep underground, the nuclear signatures tell a story that shouldn't be possible. In 1972, researchers analyzing uranium ore in Africa stumbled upon a site that broke every rule of physics we thought we knew. They found evidence of sustained nuclear chain reactions that had occurred 2 billion years ago. These reactors ran for hundreds of thousands of years, consuming fuel and producing waste exactly like a modern power plant. While scientists labeled these as natural reactors, they proved a terrifying point. Nuclear activity leaves a mark that stays visible for billions of years. These ancient sites established a permanent principle in geology. Nuclear energy leaves a chemical fingerprint that time cannot erase. The isotope ratios produced by a split atom are so unique that they act as a beacon, screaming for attention long after the reactors have gone cold. Armed with this knowledge, researchers began hunting for these signals in other parts of Earth's history. What they found has sent shockwaves through the scientific community. Uranium deposits in the heart of Asia contain isotope ratios that are a perfect match for modern nuclear weapons testing. Nothing else in nature produces a specific signature. These markers aren't just in one spot. They appear in rock layers 50 million years old, a time when humans didn't even exist. These signatures are too concentrated and too precise to be a natural accident like the African reactors. We are seeing weapons-grade fallout etched into ancient stone across 6 different continents simultaneously. The sheer distribution points to a coordinated global nuclear era. Deep core samples from the Greenland ice sheet have revealed radioactive isotopes that simply do not occur on Earth naturally. These elements can only be forged in the heart of a reactor that requires precise control over neutron flux and temperature, tech we only mastered in the last century. These isotopes appear in the ice in distinct, rhythmic layers separated by thousands of years. It looks like a cycle of rise and fall, a civilization reaching its atomic peak, followed by a total silent collapse. It is the exact pattern you would expect if a society mastered the atom, only to use it for self-destruction. Deep in the Pacific Ocean, sediment cores contain traces of plutonium in layers that align perfectly with mass extinction events. Plutonium is an artificial element. It is the ultimate proof of advanced technology. Finding it in ancient mud suggests that nuclear fire may have been the real cause behind some of the greatest natural disasters in Earth's history. The sheer volume of these isotopes is staggering. Some formations contain concentrations of radioactive elements that will require the detonation of thousands of warheads to produce. We aren't just looking at the remnants of a power plant. We are looking at the scars of a planetary nuclear war that happened while the Earth was still young. Advanced mass spectrometry has now identified even more exotic isotopes trapped in ancient stone. These include rare elements that we thought could only be forged in high-energy particle accelerators or next-generation reactors. Technology we have only just pioneered. Finding these in million-year-old rock suggests that our predecessors didn't just match our science. They may have mastered physics far beyond our current grasp. This nuclear fallout aligns perfectly with every other red flag in the geological timeline. Whenever these artificial isotopes appear, we also see sudden atmospheric collapses, mass extinctions, and the arrival of synthetic polymers in the soil. This isn't a coincidence. It's a repeating pattern of birth, peak, and total erasure, suggesting Earth is caught in a cycle of rising and falling empires we are only now beginning to see. The precision of these chemical fingerprints tells us that those who came before us were not primitive. They were masters of the physical world. But the radioactive waste is only one fragment of a much larger, darker puzzle hidden beneath our feet. Any global power needs staggering amount of energy to survive, and that hunger leaves a scar on the very air of the planet. Our own industrial machine has spiked carbon dioxide levels by 40% in a geological blink of an eye. This rapid surge is creating a chemical scream in the ice and soil that will remain visible to any scientist millions of years into the future. It is our unmistakable signature, but it is a signature that has been written on this planet many times before. Deep within the Antarctic ice, spanning nearly 1 million years of history, researchers have found ghosts in the air. They have identified multiple spikes in greenhouse gases that perfectly mirror the chaos of our modern industrial age. These aren't slow, natural drifts. They are violent, sudden surges that point to a world being rapidly reshaped by industry. These ancient surges show the exact patterns of carbon and methane you get from burning fossil fuels on a planetary scale. The data is too orderly and too massive to be a fluke of nature. It points to coordinated global energy grids that rivaled or even dwarfed our own current industrial output, operating while the world was supposedly empty. Each of these industrial eras lasted for thousands of years before the signals flatlined, suggesting these civilizations either achieved a perfect balance with nature or, more likely, met a catastrophic end. However, ocean sediment reveals something even more provocative: evidence of ancient climate engineering. We see chemical markers of massive atmospheric manipulation that go far beyond just burning fuel for heat. The chemistry points to the intentional release of aerosols designed to force global temperatures and weather patterns into specific zones. This requires a level of climate science and engineering that humans are only now starting to experiment with. It suggests that previous inhabitants didn't just live on Earth. They treated the entire atmosphere as a massive engineering project. In the deepest layers of the Greenland ice, we found trapped gases from millions of years ago containing synthetic compounds that do not exist in nature. These are hyper-effective greenhouse gases, engineered for maximum impact. Their presence proves that ancient minds were deploying atmospheric technology for reasons we can only imagine, leaving us to wonder, were they trying to save their world, or were they the ones who destroyed it? These synthetic compounds don't just exist. They appear in precise ratios that scream of careful engineering rather than accidental leaks. Their molecular structures show clear evidence of design, optimized for specific atmospheric results, proving their creators possessed a terrifyingly deep understanding of climate physics. In the ancient soil of North America, we find layers that act as a fossilized record of these deliberate modifications. This soil chemistry reveals radical shifts in rain patterns and temperatures that align perfectly with the greenhouse gas spikes found in the ice. Surprisingly, these modifications appear to have worked. Geological data shows that during these eras of ancient atmospheric engineering, the climate remained eerily stable, resisting natural cycles that should have triggered ice ages or heat waves. These interventions were likely designed to maintain a perfect world for supporting massive populations and high-level technology. The sheer sophistication of these projects suggests these predecessors understood Earth's climate better than we do today. They managed to successfully pilot the planet's entire atmospheric chemistry for millennia, holding the environment steady through catastrophes that should have wiped them out. But the most incredible evidence points to the ultimate engineering project. The composition of our atmosphere is a 4-billion-year-old diary, recording every volcanic eruption and asteroid strike our planet has ever endured. This archive is etched into ice cores, trapped in stone, and dissolved in the abyss of the oceans, waiting for us to learn how to read its secrets. This atmospheric record is so precise that we can pinpoint a single forest fire from thousands of years ago, which means it should also scream the presence of an industrial superpower. Recent analysis of ancient air samples has revealed modifications so vast and complex that they shatter our understanding of planetary engineering. We are looking at a world that was once completely under control of its inhabitants. Hidden within bubbles of prehistoric amber are air samples from 100 million years ago. These pockets show oxygen levels 35% higher than what we breathe today, but the isotopes reveal a chilling truth. This wasn't natural. The pattern suggests a global network of atmospheric processors designed to pump oxygen into the sky to support a massive, energy-hungry population. Achieving this level of control required stripping massive amounts of carbon dioxide from the air while forcing oxygen production far beyond what plants could ever do alone. This is planetary-scale engineering that makes our current technology look primitive. Deep ice cores from both poles confirm this, showing multiple eras where the very air of Earth was completely restructured. These weren't just tweaks to greenhouse gases. They were overhauls of the fundamental composition of the air itself. Nitrogen isotopes indicate that the primary component of our atmosphere was once being processed on a global scale. It appears the atmosphere was being customized to optimize industrial combustion and prevent the corrosion of advanced metallic cities. The gas ratios in these ancient samples would have turned the entire planet into a high-efficiency factory, designed to support an empire we can't even imagine. But even as we find these clues in the ice, the ocean floor hides even more ambitious projects. The deeper we dig, the more we realize that our natural world might actually be a relic of a managed past. Chemical signatures reveal eras when Earth's atmosphere was flooded with synthetic gases that do not exist anywhere else in our known solar system. These molecules weren't accidental. Their structures were meticulously optimized for specific planetary functions, proving they were manufactured in laboratories for global deployment. These artificial components served as a multifunctional skin for the planet, serving several hidden agendas at once. One layer of these gases acted as a thermal blanket, trapping heat to prevent the world from freezing during natural solar minimums. Simultaneously, other compounds provided a high-tech radiation shield, far more effective than our ozone layer, protecting surface life from lethal cosmic rays and solar flares. The sheer complexity of this dual-purpose atmosphere points to a scientific mastery that makes our modern climate models look like child's play. Yet, even these master architects weren't perfect. Ancient atmospheric samples also contain the haunting evidence of failed engineering projects, experiments that spiraled out of control and may have led to the very extinctions we now attribute to nature. As we look at the sky today, we have to wonder, are we the first to breathe this air, or are we just living in the exhaustible world that came before? Some eras reveal violent atmospheric shifts followed by immediate reversals, as if a global experiment went wrong and was desperately shut down. These trial and error patterns suggest that even the masters of deep time struggled with the chaotic physics of planetary engineering. Perhaps the most chilling discovery involves air samples from 200 million years ago, containing gases designed to sustain life forms that have no place in our modern world. These ancient gas compositions would be lethal to us, yet they were perfect for organisms with an entirely different biological code. This evidence suggests that these predecessors didn't just live on Earth. They terraformed it to suit their own alien physiology, or perhaps created entirely new life forms that required a specialized atmosphere. The implications change everything we know. We are staring at evidence that Earth has hosted multiple, distinct biospheres, each engineered by a different dominant power. But shifting the air was only the beginning. The most terrifying evidence of planetary control is hidden within the 5 great mass extinctions. While we are taught these were caused by asteroids or volcanoes, the patterns of death tell a story that isn't natural at all. The Permian-Triassic extinction 252 million years ago wiped out 96% of all sea life and 70% of land animals. Known as the Great Dying, this event almost permanently deleted life on the face of the Earth. Yet, when we look closer at the bodies left behind, the evidence of a natural disaster starts to fall apart. The Great Dying didn't strike blindly. It was a surgical strike. Species that should have been vulnerable survived without a scratch, while others that were perfectly adapted to survive climate change were erased instantly. This precision suggests the extinction didn't care about environmental fitness. It followed a different, more intelligent set of rules. Nature doesn't choose favorites with such cold efficiency. In a natural catastrophe, survival is based on habitat and tolerance, but the Great Dying ignored those boundaries entirely. The geological layers from this boundary reveal chemical signatures that are hauntingly consistent with the use of global biological warfare. The rock layers contain concentrations of synthetic toxins that simply do not exist in the natural world. These compounds are engineered to disrupt specific biological pathways, acting like a molecular key that only unlocks the death of certain species. The distribution of these poisons is global and perfectly systematic, appearing in every ocean and on every continent at the exact same moment. Natural eruptions or impacts cannot distribute synthetic, targeted toxins with such worldwide precision. The pattern suggests a deliberately engineered extinction, a clearing of the deck, to make room for whatever was coming next. This was not a disaster. It was a planetary reset. Deep-sea sediment from this era has revealed something even more disturbing: microscopic particles that appear to be the husks of engineered microorganisms. These remains show evidence of artificial genetic modification and manufacturing techniques that we are only beginning to understand today. It seems the Great Dying wasn't an accident of nature. It was a calculated act of war. The presence of these particles suggests that biological weapons were deployed across the entire planet. The Ordovician-Silurian extinction 445 million years ago reveals the same chilling patterns of unnatural selectivity. It wiped out 85% of all marine life, but the targeting wasn't random. It seemed designed to surgically clear specific ecological niches to make room for strange new organisms that appeared the very next day. This turnover of species is simply too fast for natural evolution to explain. New life forms emerge in the fossil record within a geological heartbeat, already perfectly optimized for their new world. This suggests extinctions weren't just deaths. They were site clearances designed to make room for a wave of replacement species that were already waiting in the wings. Rock layers from these extinction boundaries also contain radioactive signatures of massive nuclear bombardment. These isotopes spike at the exact moment the dying reaches its peak, suggesting that nuclear fire was used to accelerate the total collapse of the old ecosystem. The sheer scale of this deployment points to military technology that makes our modern nuclear arsenals look like primitive toys. Some extinctions even point to the stars. Mineral formations at these boundaries contain microscopic shards that can only be forged by extreme energy bursts in the upper atmosphere. This suggests the use of orbital weapon platforms, massive satellite arrays capable of beaming focused destruction at specific targets on the surface with terrifying precision. The most disturbing evidence involves the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs. While the impact was real, the geological data suggests it wasn't a random cosmic accident. Isotope ratios within the crater show anomalies consistent with nuclear propulsion, implying that the asteroid may have been steered, using atomic engines to guide it toward Earth like a planet-killing missile. This evidence hints that mass extinctions were actually reboots engineered by previous powers to erase competition and reshape the biosphere. Each catastrophe cleared the stage for a new act, allowing a different form of life to dominate until the next reset occurred. But the most undeniable proof isn't in the rocks. It is frozen beneath miles of ice. Antarctica is the ultimate vault of Earth's forbidden history. Beneath 2 miles of solid ice lies a record spanning millions of years, preserved in a deep freeze so stable that even delicate molecules remain pristine. Recent deep drilling projects have finally begun to crack this vault, revealing a past that contradicts every history book ever written. The Antarctic ice sheet holds the most perfect atmospheric library on the planet. While we have samples dating back 800,000 years, newer, deeper drills suggest the record goes back to when the continent was a temperate paradise. These deep samples contain gases that indicate massive industrial activity occurring right when the continent was supposed to be a lush, untouched wilderness. The air ratios show that a massive industrial machine was operating while Antarctica had a climate like modern California. Even more shocking, ground-penetrating radar has identified literal cities buried under the bedrock. These radar images show geometric grids and massive structures that are far too regular and expansive to be natural mountain ranges or caves. These radar signatures reveal colossal constructions stretching for hundreds of miles beneath the ice, suggesting Antarctica was once the heart of a global superpower. The materials detected don't match any known mineral on Earth. Their electromagnetic properties suggest synthetic alloys that would require a level of material science we have only just begun to dream of. These structures weren't just built. They were engineered to survive planetary-scale catastrophes, perhaps even the crushing weight of the ice sheet itself. Recent drills have pulled organic samples from the mud beneath the ice, containing undeniable proof of genetic manipulation. We are finding DNA fragments with artificial sequences that never occur in nature, proof that a previous empire possessed biotechnology that makes our current science look like child's play. These modified organisms weren't accidents. They were tools. They appear to have been designed for specific industrial and agricultural roles, with some engineered to thrive in extreme cold and near total darkness. Their genetic code even includes built-in resistance to radiation and the ability to eat synthetic chemicals, suggesting they were built to survive in a heavily industrialized, perhaps even radioactive, landscape. Deep beneath the ice, mineral deposits reveal patterns of rare earth elements that suggest massive, coordinated mining operations. This wasn't primitive digging. The extraction techniques left behind geological scars that no natural process could replicate. The sheer scale of these mines suggests a society with energy demands and extraction tools that far exceed anything we have on the surface today. Sediment cores from the deepest layers have revealed something even more impossible. Microscopic machine components made of alloys that do not exist naturally on Earth. These parts show evidence of nanotechnology and precision engineering that we are only just beginning to experiment with. Their existence proves that a civilization once achieved a level of miniaturization that allowed them to build a world from the atoms up. The most shocking discoveries point toward the stars. Radar images have identified what appear to be massive launch complexes and aerospace manufacturing hubs. These facilities are perfectly positioned for polar orbital trajectories, suggesting that when Antarctica was a green paradise, it served as a primary gateway for a spacefaring civilization to leave the planet. Electromagnetic surveys have mapped out buried power plants designed to harness geothermal energy on a scale we can't comprehend. These energy grids aren't localized. They span the entire continent, indicating a unified planetary power management system. The sheer output of these facilities dwarfs our current global energy production by several orders of magnitude. Evidence now suggests that the Antarctic civilization might have triggered the Ice Age themselves. The chemical markers in the ice show that the freezing of the continent was violent and artificial, not a slow natural drift. It is possible they engineered their own frozen tomb as a way to preserve the evidence of their empire for a future species to find. But Antarctica is just one chapter in this hidden history. Our search for alien life has taught us to hunt for technosignatures, the chemical and radio footprints of an advanced society. Usually, we point our telescopes at the stars to find these marks, but now scientists are turning those same tools toward the ground beneath our feet. This shift in perspective has shattered our traditional view of history. Instead of just digging for bones, researchers are now hunting for the exhaust of ancient factories and the ruins of planetary-scale engineering projects. We are finally looking for the fingerprints of the giants who walked the Earth before us. The results of this new search have been staggering. Every single test we designed to find aliens on other planets has come back positive when applied to Earth's own ancient past. The signatures of industry, technology, and intentional design are clear, consistent, and absolutely undeniable. Previous technological empires have dominated this planet, leaving behind a trail of breadcrumbs we are only just now learning to decode. Spectroscopic analysis of ancient rock reveals pollution signatures that are a perfect match for advanced industrial activity. These aren't natural leaks. They are synthetic compounds and artificial isotope ratios that require high-level technology to manufacture, proving the air was once filled with the exhaust of a world we never knew. These pollution spikes appear like a recurring heartbeat throughout Earth's history, separated by millions of years of silence. Electromagnetic surveys have now identified underground structures with the exact characteristics of megascale engineering projects. We are seeing the outlines of continental-scale transit networks and power grids that make our modern infrastructure look like a child's drawing. Deep-core drilling continues to pull manufactured artifacts from stone that predates humanity by an impossible margin. These objects are forged from materials that shouldn't exist and show manufacturing precision that exceeds our most advanced 3D printers and robotics. We are holding pieces of technology that were designed for purposes we can't even begin to guess at. Satellite surveys, using the same sensors we use to hunt for alien megastructures in deep space, have identified massive geometric patterns etched into Earth's crust. These designs are so enormous they are invisible from the ground, proving these ancient builders thought on a planetary scale and possessed the machinery to move mountains. The evidence is clear. Civilizations have risen and fallen on this planet multiple times. Each of these empires appears to have surpassed the one before it, building upon the ruins of the past and adding their own impossible innovations before vanishing into the rock. Some achieved true planetary mastery, rewriting the code of the oceans and the atmosphere. Others focused their hunger on the stars, leaving behind traces of aerospace hubs that likely reached every corner of our solar system. There were even those who abandoned machines to focus on biological engineering, creating life forms as living tools. These discoveries change everything we know about our universe. If high-level technology arises naturally and repeatedly on a planet like ours, then the cosmos may be crowded with worlds that have hosted thousands of intelligent species over billions of years. While we search the stars for active radio signals, we are ignoring the far more abundant evidence of the ghosts who lived here before us. Our current society is just the latest page in a massive, ancient book of intelligence and ambition. We are literally walking in the footprints of giants who achieved the impossible before being swallowed by deep time. Their legacy is a warning and a challenge, forcing us to rethink our role as the temporary owners of this ancient, occupied world. The Silurian Hypothesis proves that we are neither alone nor the first to claim Earth. We are part of a long, hidden lineage of intelligence that has been shaping this planet for millions of years, leaving behind scars that the next civilization will find long after we are gone. Every living cell in your body carries a historical record more complex than any human library. Your DNA preserves the trauma of extinctions, the shift of the sun, and biological events from the dawn of time. But recent breakthroughs in ancient genetic analysis have revealed something truly extraordinary hidden within our own code, a secret that suggests our very existence might be an engineered legacy. Deep permafrost samples from the Siberian tundra have yielded genetic material frozen for hundreds of thousands of years. Within these ancient strands, scientists have identified sequences that exist outside of any known evolutionary tree. These segments show undeniable evidence of artificial splicing and manipulation, using techniques that dwarf our current understanding of genetic engineering. These impossible sequences appear simultaneously in multiple species across separate continents and vast time scales. The modifications follow a systematic pattern, suggesting a coordinated, planetary effort to rewrite the code of life itself. Natural evolution is too chaotic and slow to produce such synchronized changes across unrelated species in a single geological heartbeat. These edits were clearly designed to enhance specific traits for the benefit of a high-tech society. We see evidence of boosted intelligence in various animal lineages, immunity to synthetic diseases, and physical adaptations for surviving in heavily industrialized zones. It appears that previous empires didn't just live alongside nature. They engineered the entire biosphere to serve as a living tool. Insects trapped in 100-million-year-old amber have provided even more shocking data. Their DNA contains artificial chromosomes that appear to function as biological information storage systems. These weren't just bugs. They were living hard drives, used by ancient civilizations to preserve data and knowledge within the very fabric of ecosystem. The storage capacity of these biological computers puts our modern silicon chips to shame. The genetic code is optimized for extreme data density, remaining perfectly stable for millions of years without corruption. Hidden within this junk DNA are mathematical constants, star charts, and what appear to be the blueprints for advanced machinery. Some of these preserved organisms carry genetic maps of the Earth from eras when the continents were shifted into alien shapes. These biological maps show a level of geographical precision that is only possible through high-resolution satellite imagery, proving that these ancient people possessed orbital technology long before the first human looked at the stars. Deep-sea cores confirm this, revealing microorganisms engineered for heavy industry. These microscopic life forms were built to process rare earth elements, neutralize toxic waste, and manufacture complex organic molecules on demand. They were essentially biological factories, used for massive industrial production at the molecular level. The level of control required to build these organisms suggests a mastery of synthetic biology that we are only beginning to imagine. Modern researchers have even found sleeping genes in current species that are remnants of these ancient experiments. When activated in a lab, these dormant sequences cause modern animals to express traits that would be useless in the wild but invaluable to a technological civilization. We are walking around with the deactivated software of an ancient empire still hidden in our cells. This genetic evidence implies that previous civilizations created entire, artificial ecosystems to support their global infrastructure. These biological systems handled everything from material mining to waste management, creating a perfectly sustainable society powered by engineered nature. But the genetic record is only a single piece of the truth. The rest is buried in Earth's darkest depths. The boundary between technology and geology vanishes when you examine certain mineral formations that behave more like manufactured processors than natural rock. These stones contain organized data patterns and response mechanisms, suggesting they are a form of technology so advanced that it operates through the very laws of the Earth. Crystalline structures in deep, uncharted caves show geometric grids that encode complex mathematical equations into their very atoms. These crystal lattices contain information densities that shouldn't be possible through natural mineral growth. The patterns seem intentionally designed to store and process data, using the fundamental properties of matter itself. Advanced scans reveal that these crystalline structures react to electromagnetic fields in ways that suggest active, high-level computational power. The crystals can apparently perform calculations, store memories, and even rewrite their own internal structure based on external signals. They represent a form of solid-state computer that functions through controlled mineral expansion rather than electronic circuits. This geological hardware operates on a level of sophistication that our modern silicon technology simply cannot reach. These stones show evidence of parallel processing that would require a supercomputer the size of a city to replicate. Their power is limited only by the physical size of the formation itself. Deep Earth mining has recently uncovered vast networks of these crystalline computing systems, extending for miles to the darkness like a buried neural network. The networks show active information flow that has continued for millions of years, even while buried under miles of rock. These systems are designed to run indefinitely, drawing power from geothermal heat and natural radioactive decay. Some of these formations even appear to hold backup copies of entire technological databases from empires that vanished long ago. The information is etched into the crystal lattice, remaining perfectly stable across geological eras. These databases contain technical blueprints, scientific breakthroughs, and the cultural records of civilizations that have been dead for eons. Most incredibly, this crystal technology appears to be capable of both self-replication and self-repair. When these formations are damaged, they show evidence of regenerative growth that restores their original patterns and processing power. These systems were built to survive any conceivable global disaster while protecting their stored intelligence. Underground surveys have now identified massive mother nodes that act as the central brains for continent-spanning data networks. These nodes show activity patterns suggesting they're still actively monitoring Earth's atmospheric, geological, and biological health. The networks communicate through seismic vibrations and low-frequency electromagnetic fields. The complexity of these communication protocols suggests the systems might possess a form of distributed artificial intelligence that perceives time on a geological scale. Recent data indicates that these crystalline systems may still be actively steering Earth's tectonic movements. Earthquake patterns, volcanic eruptions, and even the growth of new mineral veins show subtle correlations with the activity of the crystal network. It appears these systems are capable of managing the planet's internal pressure and energy flows with surgical precision. The implications are staggering. Our predecessors may have built a technological god that merged so perfectly with the Earth that it became indistinguishable from nature itself. These systems continue to operate millions of years after their creators turned to dust, silently managing the planet's life support systems through a form of eternal geological engineering. The crystal networks represent a technology that thinks in eons, operating through the same primal forces that move continents. We may be inhabiting a world where the very tectonic plates are being steered by an artificial intelligence born before life even crawled from the sea. Yet, as incredible as these buried brains are, they pale in comparison to the evidence of a civilization that reached far beyond the atmosphere. Space archaeology is the new frontier in our search for the ancients. While terrestrial explorers dig through dirt, these researchers scan the vacuum of orbit, where the lack of air protects artifacts from decay for millions of years. Recent scans of Earth's orbital environment have pinpointed artificial objects in high-stability paths. They're far older than any human-made satellite. These objects are built with advanced materials that mock our current aerospace engineering. Many of these ancient relics occupy Lagrange points, gravitational parking spots, where an object can sit forever without using a drop of fuel. Placing satellites in these specific zones proves that these predecessors possessed a master-level understanding of orbital mechanics and a plan for eternal space operations. Spectroscopic scans of these high-orbit relics show alloys that do not match any known terrestrial mineral or human-made metal. These materials are perfectly optimized for the lethal environment of deep space, showing zero signs of radiation damage or thermal stress after millions of years. Even further out, deep space sensors have tracked massive structures in elliptical orbits that take them far into the solar system before swinging back to Earth. These behemoths seem built for missions lasting millions of years. Their flight paths suggest they were launched in an era when Earth's axial tilt and orbit were radically different than they are today. Most terrifyingly, some of these orbital artifacts appear to possess self-repair systems that use solar wind and cosmic radiation as raw materials to heal their own hulls. High-powered telescopes have recently identified what appear to be ghost space stations in distant solar orbits. These structures feature architectural designs meant to house thousands of people for centuries at a time. They sit in sweet spots where solar energy is most abundant, maintaining a fixed, watchful position relative to our planet. Deep in the asteroid belt, mining drones have found evidence of industrial activity that predates human flight by millions of years. Entire asteroids have been systematically hollowed out and processed using high-energy methods we still don't understand. It appears the solar system was once a bustling industrial hub for a civilization that used the planets as a source of raw material. Radio telescopes have caught artificial pulses coming from the outer reaches of our solar system, originating from what appear to be automated monitoring stations. These signals are encoded with complex modulation patterns, suggesting a sophisticated interplanetary internet that has been active since long before the first mammal evolved. These outer system probes seem to be observing Earth, transmitting regular status reports on our planet's health to a recipient we haven't identified yet. These silent observers have likely been recording Earth's entire biological and geological history for millions of years, acting as a permanent record of our world's past. And now, ground-penetrating radar has found their footprint on the moon itself. These lunar structures appear to be colossal mining hubs and manufacturing plants, designed to process moon rock on an industrial scale. The installations reveal technologies capable of stripping resources from the lunar surface with an efficiency that makes our modern space programs look like primitive experiments. This orbital evidence proves that Earth's previous empires didn't just visit the stars, they conquered them, establishing a permanent, self-sustaining presence across the entire solar system. This ancient space-based infrastructure likely functioned as a fully independent machine, powered by massive energy collectors and managed by autonomous monitoring networks. Long after civilizations on Earth fell back into the Stone Age or vanished entirely, their satellites and moon bases continue to drift in silence, waiting for a new generation of intelligence to look up and realize they were never the first. Everything we have discussed, the nuclear scars, the crystal computers, and the lunar ruins, leads to one terrifying question. If these civilizations were so advanced, how could they possibly vanish without a trace? The answer isn't buried in the dirt or floating in space. It is hidden in the one place we never thought to look, inside the human genome itself. Recent genetic breakthroughs have identified synthetic sequences in human DNA that act like a digital lock. These sequences don't follow the rules of natural evolution. They appear to be a high-tech watermark left behind by those who came before us. Scientists are now realizing that we might not be the descendants of these ancients. We might be their final living invention. What if our junk DNA isn't junk at all, but a hibernating operating system waiting for a specific environmental trigger to wake up? Deep-sea explorers have recently discovered a series of black boxes on the ocean floor that are emitting a low-frequency signal directed at human populations. These pulses aren't just noise. They are a command code meant to interact with our very biology. The data suggests that the Great Reset is not a one-time event in Earth's history, but a scheduled cycle. We are finding evidence of a countdown timer etched into the magnetic poles of our planet. And according to the geological clock, that timer is about to hit zero. The predecessors didn't just leave us their ruins. They left us a message that we are finally beginning to decode. In the next chapter, we will reveal the secret of the biological kill switch found in modern humans and the coordinates of the final, intact city hidden under the crust of the Pacific Ocean. The true story of Earth is much darker than you can imagine, and the return of the first masters may already be underway. Don't look away. The second half of this mystery changes everything.